He's 41 years old. He's played in 6 World Cups. He's scored in 5 of them. He has won everything a footballer can win except the one trophy that's haunted him for 2 decades. And on the opening night of what everyone agrees is his last shot at it, Cristiano Ronaldo stood alone in the penalty box, took 3 shots, missed all 3, and watched the teammate beside him wait for a pass that never came. This was supposed to be the beginning of the perfect ending. The 6th World Cup, the last dance, the one trophy that's escaped him for 20 years. Instead, it's turning into something nobody saw coming. So let's talk about what's actually going wrong inside this Portugal camp, because it runs deeper than one bad result. Portugal, one of the favorites, a squad some are calling the best generation the country has ever produced. They went up after 6 minutes, João Neves rising for a header, a slick team move, the kind of start that should have ended in a 4-0 stroll. And then it stopped. DR Congo, the team, chasing their first ever point in World Cup history, dug in. They defended in numbers, won their duels, and dared Portugal to break them down. Portugal couldn't. Final score, 1 apiece. And for DR Congo, that single point was history. But the story that swallowed the night wasn't the underdogs. It was the man at the center of everything. Let's look at Ronaldo's night, because the numbers are brutal. 0 goals, 0 assists, not a single shot on target, only the 6th time that's happened in his entire World Cup career. 25 touches across 90 minutes. One of the lowest involvement counts of his international life. And here's the stat that's haunting him. He's now gone 10 straight matches at major international tournaments without a goal. He hasn't scored a goal from open play, not a penalty, an actual goal in the run of play at a World Cup or a Euros since June 2021. He made history just by starting at 41 years and 132 days. He's the oldest outfield player ever to begin a World Cup match. But history in the record books and history on the pitch are 2 different things. And right now, only one of them is going his way. Because the day before, his old rival did something very different. Lionel Messi walked out and scored a hat trick on the same stage, in the same week, when it mattered. 2 men who pushed each other to impossible heights for 15 years. And in the opening days of this tournament, the contrast couldn't be louder. After the match, the analysis came in. And the most damaging line of all came from a man who scored on the biggest stages himself, Thierry Henry. Henry didn't talk about form. He didn't talk about age. He went somewhere far more uncomfortable. He questioned the mentality. His line, on air, cut straight through everything. The team needs to score, not you. And then he broke down exactly what he meant using one specific passage of play. Henry described a moment with João Cancelo on the ball and Bruno Fernandes arriving. The right run, the unselfish run, was for Ronaldo to drag a defender into the 6-yard box. Pull the marker away. Open the space. Let Bruno tap it in. Instead, Henry said, Ronaldo drifted into Bruno's path, looking for the goal himself. And in doing so, he made it easier to defend. He crowded out his own teammate. That's not a man losing a yard of pace. That's a man, in Henry's reading, choosing his own record over his team's goal. And then Henry added the detail that turns this from analysis into a story. He said you could see Bruno Fernandes behind him reacting. Frustrated. Body language screaming. Let it roll. Make the run. Create the space for me. Which brings us to the friction nobody on that team will admit to. But everybody can see. Here's what you have to understand. Bruno Fernandes and Cristiano Ronaldo have a complicated history. It goes back years, club and country. They've never quite fit together on the pitch the way the talent says they should. Before this tournament, Bruno did all the right things. He gave the interviews. He called Ronaldo's influence a gift to the younger players. He shut down the idea that Portugal are better without their captain. The public message was unity. But football isn't played in press conferences. It's played in those split-second moments, the run you make, the pass you don't get. And Henry pointed straight at one of those moments and said, look at the body language. And the internet did what the internet always does. The moment the whistle went, the clips started flying. DR Congo fans copying the SIU celebration, Ronaldo's own trademark, turned back on him after the draw. Pushed across X within minutes. The Messi chants from the stands, looping endlessly. And the comparison engine never sleeps. Every Bruno highlight clip became a referendum. Every Ronaldo touch became a debate. The fan base split down the middle, one side defending a legend, the other asking the question that used to be unthinkable. Is Cristiano Ronaldo now the problem Portugal has to play around instead of the player they build around? Even Ronaldo himself went to social media. A short post. Heads up, this is far from over. Focus on the next game. The captain trying to steady the ship. But here's the thing about a ship. Someone has to decide who's still steering it. And that decision belongs to one man. Roberto Martinez. The man whose entire World Cup may come down to one question: when do you take the armband off your captain? Because here's what happened in Houston. Ronaldo had nothing. No shots on target. 25 touches. A team crying out for a different kind of forward. And Martinez left him on. The full 90 minutes. Never seriously considered pulling him. After the game, he was asked the obvious question. Will he drop Ronaldo? And he didn't flinch. He said it makes no sense to take the best goal scorer in world football off the pitch. In a game, you need a goal. He talked about Ronaldo's experience in the box, the way he pulls defenders, the space that's supposed to create for everyone else. But here's the contradiction that's swallowing this camp whole. In almost the same breath, Martinez warned his entire squad nobody's place is safe. No fixed lineups. Anyone could be dropped for the next match. Anyone, except, it seems, the one player whose numbers most justify it. That's the tension. A coach preaching ruthless competition for every shirt while protecting the one shirt the data says he should question. Loyalty or a trap, reverence or a blind spot. And Martinez even defended the walk down the tunnel, explained it away, smoothed it over, which tells you everything about the gravity Ronaldo still holds over this team. Even now, even like this. So why does a manager, a smart one, a Nations League winner, keep faith this completely? To understand that, you have to understand what this squad is actually carrying into this tournament. Because it's not just a trophy. Look at the wrists of every Portugal player in this tournament. There's a band there, designed to pass FIFA's regulations so they can wear it on the pitch. On it the names of the whole squad. And one more name, a name that should have been on this team sheet. Diogo Jota. Last summer, Jota died in a car crash in Spain, alongside his brother Andre. He was 28 years old. He just got married, and he was supposed to be here, chasing the World Cup he talked about constantly, the dream he never stopped believing in. 49 caps, 14 goals. But the numbers were never the point with Jota. He was the heartbeat of that dressing room, the one who believed when belief was hardest to find. Ruben Neves, one of his closest friends, who carried his coffin, who now wears Jota's number 21, has his face tattooed on his leg. The Prime Minister of Portugal handed every player one of those wristbands personally. The squad voted unanimously to wear them the whole way. And when Martinez was asked about it, he didn't reach for tactics. He said 4 words: Diogo is our light. So now you understand the real weight pressing down on this team. It was never just about Ronaldo's record, never just about a trophy. They're playing for a friend who can't. And that's what makes this opening result hurt so much more. Because the emotion that was supposed to lift them, to carry them through the hard moments, exactly like Jota would have instead, seemed to weigh them down. They scored early and froze. Played not to lose. Let an underdog steal the story. The very thing meant to be their fuel became their pressure. So here's where Portugal stands. 1 point from a game they should have won. A captain who can't score but won't sit. A coach who won't move him. A dressing room carrying a grief heavier than any opponent. And a rival on the other side of the bracket scoring hat tricks like it's nothing. The next game is Uzbekistan. Then Colombia. The margin for error is already gone. And the question that started as a whisper is now the loudest sound in world football. Is this the storybook ending the legend, lifting the one trophy that escaped him? Or are we watching, in real time, the most painful goodbye the game has ever seen? For Cristiano Ronaldo, there's no next World Cup. This is it, the last chapter. And right now, he's the one writing it for better or for worse. What do you think? Can Ronaldo turn this around? Or is it already over for Portugal? Drop your verdict in the comments. And if you want every twist of this World Cup as it happens, subscribe, because this story is only getting started.